The Oscar-winning American actor Gene Hackman, along with his wife Betsy, have been found dead in their home in New Mexico in the United States.
Tonight, we're learning new details in the death of legendary actor Gene Hackman.
Deaths of Oscar-winning actor Gene Hackman and his wife, whose bodies were found in their Santa Fe home.
1425 Old Sunset Trail, where Gene Hackman, 95, and his wife Betsy Arakawa, 65, and a dog were found deceased.
At 11 o'clock in the morning, federal agents cut through the locks of a $4 million estate in New Mexico. They were looking for answers regarding the sudden passing of Gene and Betsy Hackman. Instead, they found an anomaly. Thermal cameras picked up a heat signature coming from under the foundation, a massive void that shouldn't exist. When they finally cracked the seal, the air that rushed out was stale, smelling of rust and old paper. What was waiting in the dark wasn't just a room. It was a time capsule of impossible secrets. Secrets buried deep in Santa Fe. This investigation started on February 26th with the discovery of Mr. Hackman and Miss Arakawa at their residence. This investigation started on February 26th with the discovery of Mr. Hackman and Miss Arakawa and their dog at the residence. 11 o'clock in the morning, February 26, 2025. Federal agents forced their way through the towering steel gates of a $4 million mansion hidden deep within the forests of Santa Fe, New Mexico. They expected a routine investigation into a tragic loss. What they found instead will send shockwaves through Hollywood and beyond. Right now, breaking news involves the passing of legendary actor Gene Hackman. Breaking news: actor Gene Hackman's cause of death revealed. It is tragic, sad. Officials tonight say the actor's wife died a week before Hackman. His longtime love, Betsy Arakawa, died of antivirus. Sources have obtained the search warrant for his New Mexico home, and we are going to tell you exactly what authorities found when they arrived. Because beneath the floors of legendary actor Gene Hackman's estate, concealed behind the walls of his private library, lies something that was never supposed to be found. A tunnel, ancient, forgotten, and filled with secrets so disturbing that even the most hardened investigators struggle to process what they are seeing. A cloud of suspicion surrounds the end of Oscar-winning actor Gene Hackman and his wife, whose bodies were found in their Santa Fe home. No one had seen the couple for days, and authorities say they had been gone for some time. A cloud of suspicion surrounds the deaths of Oscar-winning actor Gene Hackman and his wife, whose bodies were found in their Santa Fe home. No one had seen the couple for days, and authorities say they had been dead for some time. Gene Hackman and his wife Betsy were found inside this mansion. The official story says natural causes, but the discovery of this underground maze tells a very different story. What was buried beneath this estate? Who built it? And what does it have to do with the mysterious end of one of Hollywood's most celebrated couples? The answers might terrify you. It is the newly released body cam video showing cops arriving at the Santa Fe home. They learned from a handyman that the couple had passed. To understand what happened, you first need to understand where it happened. Gene Hackman's estate wasn't just a home. It was a fortress. Nestled within dense, almost impenetrable forest, the property was designed for one purpose: absolute privacy. Towering stone walls, reinforced steel gates, motion sensors, thermal cameras, and round-the-clock surveillance systems that would rival government installations protected the grounds. The staff was handpicked, vetted, and bound by ironclad legal agreements that prevented them from ever speaking about what went on inside. This wasn't the retreat of a man who wanted peace and quiet. This was the sanctuary of someone who had something to hide. Step past those gates, and the sheer luxury is overwhelming. Hallways lined with original masterpieces from legendary painters, furniture dating back centuries, once belonging to European royalty. Chandeliers rumored to have hung in the grand halls of ancient palaces. Gardens tended by experts filled with plants so rare they exist in only a handful of places on Earth. But beneath all that beauty, something else was waiting. Silent fortress in the woods. A sheriff's department statement said foul play was not suspected, but authorities said the scene was suspicious enough to require a thorough search. During recent renovations, workers stumbled upon something they were not supposed to find, a hidden passage. And when investigators finally explored it, they realized this wasn't some modern addition. The walls were reinforced with an unusually strong material. The construction dated back decades, possibly even a century. Someone had built this tunnel to last or to keep something hidden forever. But what shocked investigators wasn't just the tunnel itself. It was where it led. A major ruling from a judge will allow the public to see inside the home of Hollywood legend Gene Hackman and his wife after they were found. The moment agents entered the mansion, something felt wrong. It wasn't the silence. It wasn't the size of the rooms. It was the subtle details that didn't add up. Furniture that had been moved, scuff marks on the floor, and inconsistencies in Hackman's personal belongings suggested someone had been searching for something or perhaps hiding something. But the real discovery came when agents examined the library. Behind a section of the wall, concealed so perfectly that it would have been invisible to anyone who didn't know where to look, they found it. A narrow passageway with stone steps spiraling downward into absolute darkness. The air grew colder with each step. It was damp and heavy. The agents' flashlights cut through the black, revealing walls covered in strange symbols and markings that didn't match any known language. Some resembled ancient chemistry signs. Others looked like technical drawings, blueprints for inventions that seemed to be way ahead of the time they were created. And then they reached the chamber. It was a vast underground warehouse frozen in time. Stacks of ancient wooden crates lined the walls like a forgotten archive. Some had crumbled with age, their contents spilling out across the stone floor. Yellow documents, rusted metallic objects, and antique artifacts that defied explanation were everywhere. One agent carefully lifted the lid of a dust-covered box. Inside were photographs, fragile and yellowed. The faces staring back were unfamiliar, their clothing and hairstyles hinting at a time long past. Some photos captured secret meetings in dimly lit rooms. Others showed strange, unidentified locations. A few depicted individuals whose names had been lost to history. Each image seemed to hold a hidden story, a piece of a puzzle no one had ever assembled. Beside the photographs were leather-bound files filled with hastily scribbled notes, records of events that appeared to have been deliberately buried, passages that suggested deception, secrecy, and possibly something far worse. But the most chilling find was still waiting in the shadows. Door that cannot be opened. Deep in the gloom, beyond the crates and the scattered papers, the agents found something that stopped them in their tracks. It was an old iron door. Its surface was covered in rust and grime, untouched for what looked like decades. There was no handle, only a heavy corroded lock that seemed designed to keep something sealed away forever. The FBI has refused to comment on what they found beyond that door, but the rumors spreading through investigative circles paint a disturbing picture. And some believe the tunnel is part of an extensive underground network, one that has remained undiscovered for generations. Others suspect it leads to a hidden bunker, possibly connected to Cold War-era operations or even older, more secretive organizations. But here is where things get even stranger. The floor of the chamber wasn't just covered in dust. It was marked with circular patterns that, when viewed from above, resembled celestial star maps, as if whoever created them was mapping the heavens or signaling something beyond this world. The tools found in the crates were equally bizarre. Some had engravings that didn't match any known manufacturer. Others contained mechanisms so precise they would require technology far beyond what existed when the tunnel was supposedly built. Was Gene Hackman a collector of impossible artifacts, or a guardian of forbidden knowledge? Or did he inherit this underground world from someone else, someone whose secrets he was meant to protect? Hackman was considered one of the greatest performers of his era. Admired by filmmakers and fellow actors, he was known for roles in The French Connection, Unforgiven, and Hoosiers. But maybe the role of the quiet recluse was the most important one he ever played. To understand the gravity of this, we have to look at the ground beneath Santa Fe itself. This area isn't just known for art and sunsets. It is a region with a deep history of military testing, secret laboratories, and government black sites. Los Alamos, the birthplace of the atomic bomb, is not far away. For decades, the locals have whispered about underground transport systems and bunkers built into the mesas designed to shelter the elite in case the world fell apart. Could this tunnel be a spur? A forgotten entrance to a much larger system? The iron door had no markings, but the steel was military grade. The spacing of the rivets matched construction styles used in high-security facilities from the 1950s. If this was just a root cellar, why build it like a bank vault? Neighbors saw too much. Just when you think the story can't get any darker, the testimony from the people living nearby changes everything. The neighbors always knew something was off about the Hackman estate. Some remember cryptic conversations where Hackman spoke in riddles, hinting at unseen dangers and betrayals without ever quite explaining what he meant. And others recall shadowy figures moving in and out of the property in the dead of night. Brief visits, faces hidden, purposes unknown. There are stories of strange mechanical noises rumbling beneath the ground at odd hours. Sounds like something was being constructed or buried deep in the earth. It wasn't the sound of plumbing or heating. It was the sound of heavy industry grinding and humming hundreds of feet down. And then there are the people who vanished. Former staff members who left the estate and were never seen again. Workers from decades past who disappeared during construction projects. Local historians who tried to dig into the property's past and simply stopped responding to calls. The connection between the underground tunnel and the tragic end of Gene and Betsy Hackman remains one of the most baffling aspects of this case. Official reports say natural causes, but the timing feels impossible to ignore. Were they silenced because they knew too much? Did someone use the tunnel to enter the mansion undetected? Or was there something inside that chamber so dangerous that even its guardians couldn't survive its secrets? The cause of passing for Mr. Gene Hackman, aged 95 years, is listed as heart issues with other significant factors. But the paperwork doesn't account for the environment. It doesn't explain why a couple with access to the best healthcare in the world would isolate themselves so completely in their final days. The tunnel entrance in the library wasn't hidden by a simple rug. It was behind a mechanism that required a specific sequence to open. This means Gene likely accessed it recently. Why would a man in his 90s be going down into a damp bunker? Unless he was afraid, unless he was checking on something or perhaps hiding from something that he knew was coming for him. truth beneath our feet. As forensic teams comb through the dust and debris, the silence from the authorities is deafening. The investigation is ongoing. FBI forensic teams continue to analyze every artifact, every document, every symbol carved into those ancient walls. Advanced techniques are being used to detect invisible residues, trace DNA, and decode the strange messages left behind. If these clues lead to specific names, the entire case could take a shocking turn. But authorities remain frustratingly silent. Their statements are vague, carefully worded, almost as if they are deliberately keeping something under wraps, and that silence only fuels the guessing game. Some believe these tunnels are remnants of a forgotten military project. Others think they are connected to secret societies that have operated in the shadows for centuries. A few suggest something even more unsettling, that what lies beneath the Hackman estate isn't entirely of this world. Every day, new theories emerge, new questions arise, and the mystery only deepens. Deputies in Santa Fe, New Mexico, have said from the very beginning there were no signs of foul play in the passing of acting legend Gene Hackman, his wife, and their dog. But they also said that the scene was unusual and suspicious, and that has raised so many questions. Gene Hackman spent his life portraying characters caught in webs of conspiracy, deception, and hidden truths. From the French Connection to Enemy of the State, yes, he embodied the struggle against forces operating just beyond the edge of what we can see. Perhaps that was never just acting. Perhaps he understood something the rest of us are only now beginning to see, because beneath the mansions of the powerful, beneath the forests and the mountains and the cities we call home, there may be entire worlds we have never discovered. Networks of tunnels, chambers of secrets, doors that were never meant to be opened. The question isn't whether those secrets exist. The question is, are we ready to know what is hiding in the darkness? What do you think lies beneath the Hackman estate? Was he a guardian of lost history, or was he trapped by it? Share your theories in the comments below. And if you want to stay updated as we decode the files found in that bunker, make sure to like and subscribe.